ZL Entertainment.
Greetings, boys and girls. I am Jack Neon from ZL Entertainment, and today we are here for something that I've never really done before, and I think it'd be kind of cool. I just heard about these whole weird tier listing thing today, and it was for a metal tier list, and I'm gonna do kind of the same one, except for it looks like it has a few different genres, but we're gonna do that. I personally find that metal is one of my all-time favorites. I have 3 favorites. In fact, there's another tier list I'm going to be doing as well, and that's for genres of all music, and they do like the main type of genres with that, so I'll have that in a video later on that we can all watch and view. This time we're going to go with metal and the different basic but main genres. And so, yeah, we're gonna get right into this. Alright, so as you can see, this is the first one. This is actually power metal. And power metal, I actually do like. I haven't heard a lot of power metal for that. And it's not just Dragon Force that I've heard. I mean, they're like one of my favorites that I've heard so far. I really like that kind of stuff, you know. It's what I write, so it's up there for me. It's high up on the list. Yeah, power metal, it's not as high as it used to be for me, so I'm gonna put it up as an A list. Next we have stoner metal, which is like an offshoot, from what I've heard, of doom metal. And it would be nice if this was exchanged for a different genre of metal, but I don't like this at all. I've never heard anything from it. So I'm going to quickly listen to some music from stoner metal just to see if it has some kind of any redeeming qualities, because I don't like the idea of drugs, and I think people who just smoke weed are just following a retarded trend. So I'm gonna quickly look into the music itself. Alright, so the music itself sounds pretty cool. It's like doom metal, but a little faster, a little sludgier almost, which sludge metal seems to be on here as well, which I wish they would have just taken those two out and gave us something better. But the music itself seems cool. I don't like the lyrical content. I don't think you should make a genre based on a topic of lyrics. That being said, the music portion of it is actually pretty decent sounding. It has a good feel to it. It's not the worst, but it's not the best, so we're going to give it D tier. Next we come to hair metal, and which became, well, actually it first started out called teeth metal because it was metal where all the people were smiling, which was a weird thing, but 80s is cool. And then they went up to calling it hair metal and then glam metal. I love 80s metal. I just call it the 80s metal band because even though you can't usually tell most of the glam metal and hair metal bands apart, I'm gonna give it a high list due to the fact that I first listened to hair metal. That was the first metal I listened to, and that's what got me into metal. So it has a soft spot in my heart, and I would love to see it come back. I think it could, and hopefully it will. It definitely seems to be the type of music that could thrive in this type of musical setting. Next we have symphonic metal, which to me, symphonic metal feels like power metal, but with an orchestral kind of feel to it. And I often feel like power metal, symphonic metal, and gothic metal kind of fit in the same area. I love Symphony X, even though they're kind of considered prog metal and a lot of times, but they have a lot of their songs do have symphonic elements to it as well. I love that kind of stuff. So symphonic is going up there high for me as well. Next, we actually have my all-time favorite kind of metal. I love alternative metal more than anything else. I'm kind of sad there's no prog metal on here, but you know, that's that's that, I guess. Alternative metal became my favorite about 5 years ago. I love it because it's always different and I get bored easily. So with a lot of different kind of alternative metal bands, like, they do metal differently and they do it more interestingly to me. And so that's why I give them the highest rating. Alright, and the next genre is black metal, which is a form of religious metal, and it's basically satanic metal. And I listen to like some, and it's just boring to me. I didn't like it. I don't like people who put religion into music. If Christian metal was on this list, it would be in the same spot as this, but we're gonna put that there. I do not like it at all. Yeah, it's just not my bag of tea. So the next one is death metal, and I don't like death metal per se, but I do like melodic death metal. Like Children of Bodom is really awesome. And for that alone, we're going to bring death metal to this right here. Next, we have nu metal, and I don't really like nu metal. Nu metal is like, I feel like it's an offshoot of alternative metal in a way, but not in a good way. It's kind of like a mix of rap metal and a few other genres. It feels like it was a novelty or something like that in like the late 90s and early 2000s, and not a huge fan of most nu metal. I'm going to give it a higher spot than I personally would. It's not the worst to me. I would put it as a D if it was just my opinion, but because of the impact it had, we're gonna put it up to C. And there were some good songs that even I liked. Slipknot had a few that I thought were okay, mostly on their first album. Linkin Park had a few when they were considered nu metal, like they had like 1 or 2 songs I liked. And Limp Bizkit had like 1 song that I really liked. Thrash metal was the second genre I ever listened to right after hair metal. And it started in the 80s, and I love 80s music. All 80s. I don't even care what genre it is. I love 80s music. It's not my favorite. At a time, it was my favorite genre. But it's not anymore. You know, with Metallica, it's the best to me. But the thrash I've heard, I do like. And that's why it's got a high tier on this. Gothic metal, to me, gothic metal is stuff like Nightwish and Epica. Kuna Coil to a certain degree, but they're slightly on the more of the... They have a more nu metal feel most of the time. Like, goth metal is one of my favorites. I love anything gothic. I am gothic. I don't dress it because I don't have any money to buy the clothing for it. I love goth music, gothabilly, goth rock, goth metal. I'm sure there's other kind of things, but I just love the genre in general. Cradle of Filth, that was the band I was trying to think of. Nymphetamines. I forgot how to pronounce that, but I love that. And the cover they did of Mr. Crowley is awesome. So yeah, I could go on and on about gothic metal, but we're not going to do that. We're going to get to the next genre. Good old heavy metal. This also is up here as well, because I really do love Judas Priest, which is one of my all-time favorite bands. I listen to them all the time when I'm working out at the gym. And I also love the regular Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath as well. And those kind of things. And not only do I love it, the impact that heavy metal has, the originality and everything about it is just wonderful. I mean, it branched a lot of this other stuff here that is more popular than regular heavy metal, but the regular stuff to me is really awesome. And the regular heavy metal always sparks new things. Like, none of these things would have came about without the originality of heavy metal. So for that alone, for the impact alone, I would put it up here. But also for me, I love it. So sludge metal is next. I'm gonna have to look that up and see who that includes, see if anybody I know. Mastodon. I love Mastodon. I would actually give Sludge, not on its impact, but on my own like, and I actually do like Sludge. It's a lot better. I like the name more, and it doesn't have a weed connotation like stoner metal does. It doesn't have to have a drug connotation. So that's why I like Sludge a little bit more. Industrial metal, to me, industrial metal is good when it's incorporated into other genres of metal, like how Marilyn Manson did with goth and industrial. It's good when it's mixed with others, but it's not good on its own merits, I don't think. But it's still not as bad as some other stuff. So that's how it is for me on that. Extreme metal did include thrash metal, but extreme metal branched off, and well, extreme metal includes thrash metal, death metal, and all the other offshoots that are more extreme. On that note itself, on the merits of impact, it gets higher than what I would give it, but it also includes stupid stuff like those grind stuff. It's annoying to me. But on its own, like, cultural impact, so for the impact and just for me liking it a little bit, it gets a lot higher than it normally would have. And doom metal. I do actually like doom metal. I just like the idea of, like, the middle finger saying, fuck you, you know, you don't have to be fast. You can be slow, a little bit too slow, sometimes a bit boring. Doom metal is kind of like industrial metal in a way where it needs other genres incorporated to make it good. Like gothic metal comes from a mixture of doom metal and goth rock. For that alone, yeah, I don't see metalcore on here. The person I saw doing this had metalcore, but so yeah, I put it at this area right here. Partially due to the fact that I hate seeing this tier with nothing in it. Partially because I had a huge impact. Well, not the hugest, but huge enough. And I just, you know, I guess it only spawned off gothic metal, so it's not that huge of an impact. I do like it. I just like, it's good for like a walk. And I love walking, so doom metal is good on its own right. And that's my tier on this. There's a lot of other genres. There should have been metalcore on here, or core metal. Well, metalcore just would cover all the other cores of metal. That would have been like in B tier, not because I really like it as much, but just because it had a huge ass impact, even though nowadays it's just not as great. So that's my tier list. You don't have to agree with it. I don't care really. I did this based 80% on my own opinions, 20% on just impact and just overall everything else. And if you want to do your own list, just do that, make your video, and put a link of your video into my comments, and I'll check it out, because it's interesting to me to see where all of us metalheads lie within the metal spectrum. It's kind of interesting to me. So I will watch it, and you can start a discussion down below if you don't want to make a video, and just be friendly and kind, that's all. And yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed. Love you all. Peace to you, and stay safe.